Welcome, everybody. Thanks again for joining me, your host, Andre Key, on another episode of Boss Up with Mr. Key, the real estate edition. Typically, we interview bosses and talk about their accomplishments and where they came from, but sometimes we talk about real estate because I am a real estate broker, and so it's important that I share some expertise to get out to my database and the people that may watch. What we want to talk about today is some misconceptions. Obviously the media can steer you wrong, or not necessarily traditional media, social media. Nowadays, I realize information is at everybody's fingertips. However, not everybody validates where they get the information from. And so, it could be a situation where you're gathering information and it comes from some bogus site, and you regurgitate this information like it's the law. But I'm going to give you some facts that regarding the Austin metropolitan real estate market that is actually studied and actually derived by housing economists, PhDs, people that are paid to study the housing market in Austin, Texas. So one of the misconceptions that I've heard is that, prices are just dropping. Like they're smashing, they're super low. Yeah, it's a buyer's market. You can get so much off the price of houses. And, why it is a buyer's market. And I'll tell you why and what makes it a buyer's market in a bit. But when you actually look at the data, prices haven't necessarily declined all that much. For example, if you look at Austin in particular, the city limits, and right now I'm just kind of giving you the facts. So I have my trusty laptop in front of me. And when we talk about the market in Austin, prices have increased. And keep in mind, this is going to give you information about May. Right now, I'm doing this podcast. We're in June, middle of June. But I did see that Austin's real estate prices have increased 5.7%. So that's 5.7% on average, about $608K per house in the Austin land area. That doesn't sound like a huge drop to me. I'm just saying. So the other thing I want to talk about is, Williamson County. It's a county, the Austin suburbs, right outside of the Austin land area. They've dropped, but they've only dropped 1%. 1% decrease. And when I say in comparison to, I mean in comparison to 2023. So here's to those huge price drops that people have anticipated or have circulated through the media. But again, a 1% drop. Travis County, really the only counties that have dropped in price is like Hayes County, like way out there. It's probably like 2.5%. Bastrop County, 5.4%. So those counties that are further away from the city have dropped. But if you want to stay close to the city, be within the metropolitan area, Williamson County, I take that back. It dropped only 0.5%. So, and in Austin again was 4.7%. I'm sorry, I'm making these corrections on the fly. But as a buyer, you're looking at that and like, well, okay, where's the savings? Andre, I hear that it's a buyer's market, but let me tell you a little bit why it's a buyer's market. There's something called housing inventory throughout the Austin land area. And when we talk about housing inventory, let me give you a definition. Inventory in the housing market is what it would take to sell every home that's listed currently within the current sales rate, barring any new listings hitting the market. So right now, if we're like, hey, we're going to stop putting new listings in, we're going to keep the current sales rate, how long will it take to sell all the houses in the market? And then during the pandemic, Inventory was really short. It was probably a half a month. But right now, we're at about 5 months of inventory. That means it would take 5 months to sell out, basically the rest of the year to sell out the rest of the listings. And also the amount of listings that are hitting the market have increased a substantial percentage. And I don't want to make numbers, throw them out and keep you bored. But think about it. If more houses are hitting the market and we've already gotten like 5 months of inventory, that's just growing the amount of inventory, which gives buyers more options to pick and choose, to get an idea of what they want, to not feel rushed, to not feel like they have to go into multiple bid offers and overpay. So when I say it's a buyer's market, imagine going in the supermarket and there's like one batch of bananas on the shelf and there's like 15 people looking at it. That part right there is nothing that will benefit a buyer. But if you have 10 shelves right in the middle of the produce aisle and they all have bananas and you want to shop, you can definitely pick and make sure they're not green or however you like them. You'll have your pick of the litter. And so if we equate that to the real estate market, it's the same. So what does that mean? Buyers, get out there. You definitely can have a chance to pick what you need. And when you think about those inventory numbers, let me put it in perspective. 5 months of inventory, that is the highest level of inventory in Austin in the past 13 years. I've been here for about 16 years. So in the past 13 years, there has never been 5 months of inventory. So let that circulate, let that settle a little bit as a buyer. Now, as a seller, you're like, hey, how does that affect me? Well, as a seller, you definitely have to understand how to price your house, how to make it look nice, how to make it competitive in this current market. So when people do for sale by owners or they're hearing like litigation about the National Associations of Realtors and they think I don't need a realtor to sell my house, well, hold your horses. Hold on. How do you navigate when the competition is fierce? Like there's probably 5 for sale signs within the 1 mile radius. And so like you have to understand as a seller how to stand out, how to price it, how to make sure your product looks the best. If you can't afford to make your product look the best, how to make it where it's priced the best. And sellers have to understand that, hey, this isn't 2020, 2021. Like those prices have gone. However, you can tell from 2023, you haven't lost a whole lot of equity. It's just important to know that you have to know or have a professional that can help you navigate the nuances of the market. Even as a buyer, you need to be able to understand the nuances and how to navigate. As a seller, you have to probably give concessions. What does that mean, Andre? That means that if somebody buys your house, you may have to give the buyer some kind of help with closing costs. You may have to give them something to help them buy down the interest rate. So again, understand your bottom line. Understand what that is when you talk to your agent and see how it equates to where you need to list your property, how much you have to potentially give back to the buyers. You have to be appealing in this market. So again, just to kind of put a cherry on the top, watch what you listen to. People are saying, oh, the prices are dropped. Like it's a huge impact, a drop on prices. And you know what? There has been a drop since the pandemic, but we're stabilizing since 2023. I bet if I looked at the numbers of a drop from 21 or from 22 to 23, they may be more substantial. It's good to know because knowing is half the battle and the professionals can navigate that. So hit up your local agent, hit up a professional, and understand what's going on. Understand how you as a buyer can take advantage. And as a seller, understand how you can make sure your house is not just sitting on the market. Until next time, that's another episode of Boss Up with Mr. Key, Real Estate Edition. I know I gave you some boring facts, but if you're in the market, either way, these are facts that you need to know, you need to grow with, stand on. Until next time, before I say until next time, I want to make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me who you want to talk about. Tell me how you want to learn about real estate, what you want to learn. This is important. It fuels the show. So until next time,